Hey everyone, this is Hafizullah Masoudi and you're watching from Code with Hafiz. I hope you're doing fine and well. I welcome you to the 19th video of this series for absolute beginners about CSS. So we are almost done here because this is the last video for this series, and so far so good. You have covered everything that comes within CSS basics. So as for this video, we will discuss CSS Specificity, CSS Important Rule, and CSS Math functions. So first of all, let's discuss CSS Specificity. So what is specificity? If there are two or more CSS rules that point to the same element, the selector with the highest specificity value will win, and its style declaration will be applied to that HTML element. So think of specificity as a score or rank that determines which style declaration is ultimately applied to an element. So to give you some examples, let's write some code here. So let's create a paragraph, and in here let's say hello world, and now I will give some styling to this paragraph. So in here let's say p tag, curly braces, and let's give it a color of red like this. So if we check out this one in the browser, you can see it is getting the red color. So suppose now what if we give this paragraph a class and assign some other styling? So which one it will get first or last? So let's get back to Visual Studio Code and let's try to give this one a class, and let's name it test. So now let's target this test class. So in here let's say dot test and then curly braces. So let's give it another color, and this time we will make it green. So we are declaring this test color with green after paragraph. So logically it will mean that this color would get last. So if we check out the browser, you can see it is green. But what if we cut this one out from here and paste it here? So now logically the code says that the red color is the last one, so the paragraph should be red. But if we check out the browser, it is still green, and that is because the specificity of classes is higher than the tag itself. Now how about if we assign an ID for this paragraph? So let's try to add an ID, and let's name it demo for example, and let's target this ID. So in here let's say hash demo curly braces, and let's declare some color. So this time let's say blue. So if we check out the browser now and refresh, now you can see the paragraph is being blue. So this means that the ID has the highest specificity in here in our code. And now if we apply some inline styling, so if I open a style attribute here and let's color it, so this time let's say pink, and if I save it, get back to the browser, refresh, now you can see it gets the pink color. So the inline styling has the highest specificity in here after the element, class, and ID. So what is the hierarchy for specificity? So every CSS selector has its place in the specificity hierarchy. So there are 4 categories that defines the level for a selector. So the first one is the inline style, and after that are the IDs, and then are the classes, pseudo classes, attribute selectors, and the fourth one is the elements or pseudo elements. So keep this one in mind. Now this was all for specificity. Now let's discuss CSS important rule. So the important rule in CSS is mostly used to add more importance to a property or value than normal criteria. So in fact, if you use the important rule, it will override all previous styling rules for that specific property on that element. So to show you an example of the important rule, in here you can see that the last styling that is applied for the paragraph is this color pink. So let's suppose we wanna add an important rule to this red color. So if I save this now, get back to the browser, and if I refresh, now you can see it is overriding everything and the paragraph is getting the red color. Now you have to be very careful with using important rule, because if you override an important rule with another important rule with the same or higher specificity in the source code, you will encounter many problems which will make the CSS code confusing and the debugging will become hard for you, so if you have a large style sheet. So be careful with this one and do not use it unless you absolutely have to. Now finally we have the CSS math functions. So the CSS math functions allow us to do some mathematical expressions that can be used as property values. So here I will explain calc, max and minimum functions or min functions. So the calc function performs a calculation to be used as a property value, and to give you an example, let's get back to Visual Studio Code. Let's first remove this styling from here, and let's also remove this paragraph. So I will create a div with the ID of, let's say, div1, and for this one let's put some lorem ipsum like this, and now let's style it. So I want to show you the mathematical expression or calc function. So in here let's target the div1 with the ID of div1. So let's say div1 and then curly braces, and let's declare some position for it, so it will be absolute, and then we can declare some left for it, so 50 px, and let's say border, so for this one let's say 1 px solid black, and let's declare a background color for it, so it will be yellow for example, and let's say we want to give it some padding of 5 px. So if I save it and get back to the browser and let's refresh, so you can see we have this nice div here. So what if you wanna calculate the width of this div according to some pixels? So let's get back to Visual Studio Code, and after the left property, let's say width, and we want to calc, so let's say calc here, and we want to say 100% should minus, for example, 100 px. So what this will do is it will calculate or subtract 100 pixels from 100% of the screen width. So let's get back to the browser, and if I refresh now you can see the div is getting some width for itself, which is being calculated. So this was the calc function. Now the next one that we have is the max function. So the max function uses the largest value from a comma separated list of values as the property value. So if I show you an example, let's get back to Visual Studio Code, and in here what I will do is, well, let's suppose we already have this div1. So for the styling, let's remove all of this. Now let's give it a background color again, which will be yellow, and let's say its height should be, let's say, 100 px, and for the width we want to select a max value. So let's say width, and let's declare a max function, so let's say 50% and a comma 300 px. So if I save this now, get back to the browser and refresh, now you can see it is getting the highest value or the maximum value for the width, which is 50%. Now finally we have the last function, which is the min function. So the min function uses the smallest value from a comma separated list of values as the property value. So to show you an example of this one, we can already change or make some minor changes to this code. So instead of max, let's say min this time, and now it will get the 300 px value. So if I refresh the browser, now you can see it is getting the minimum value for the width. Now this was all about this video, so I hope you enjoyed watching the video and found it useful. If so, don't forget to hit the like button and leave a nice comment too. And if you are new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe too if you want more videos from me. Now thanks for watching, and I beg you farewell and have a nice day.